I certainly could not have imagined when I came to the ACLU in August of 2001 that I would spend the next decade litigating the kinds of human rights issues that we typically associate with totalitarian regimes and with oppressive and repressive regimes, representing torture victims, representing people detained without charge or trial, representing victims of surveillance, representing people who are put on government watch lists without any reason or cause. My name is Ben Wizner. I'm the Litigation Director of the ACLU's National Security Project. Well, I actually first heard about Adama Bah probably in the way that many thousands of other people did, which is by reading an article about her in the New York Times, about this 16-year-old girl who had been seized from her home, who had been brought into immigration detention, who had somehow been accused of being a potential suicide bomber, but of course never charged in a criminal court, was just being held in immigration detention. You know, Adama was swept up by forces much larger than herself. She was coming of age in an America that took swift, coercive action on the basis of the thinnest innuendo, without the kind of evidence that would hold up in court.
Before I got arrested, I read a lot of cases or heard of a lot of cases. I've seen on TV Muslim men being arrested and being accused. You know, usually the way the government puts it out, you go, wow, thank God they caught them. And now that I'm in the predicament, in the same situation as them, I know what they're going through.
I think one of the remarkable things 10 years after 9/11 is that we have continued to allow the fear of terrorism to dominate our legal and political discussions in this country. And it may be that the changes that we've seen in the fabric of our society were not temporary in response to a threat, but are a kind of new normal in this country, and that the fear of terrorism will continue to be used as a way to justify all kinds of illegal and repressive government conduct.
Because of my arrest and my situation, I do go to a lot of events where I've heard about Muslim men and meeting these Muslim men's family members. It tears you apart. When you see a little girl who's 10 years old speaking up and saying, my father is innocent, but he was accused of being a bomber or plotting to do something or plotting to kill someone. It tears you apart because these families are torn apart.
When it came to terrorist threats, the government attitude was, we would much rather violate rights here and there than make the kind of mistake that was made before 9/11. One of the real difficulties for us as human rights advocates has been trying to move beyond the word terrorist or even terrorist suspect to talk about the actual human beings who are involved here. Terrorist is a question, not an answer. And in a democracy, terrorist is a conclusion that follows a trial with evidence, not an accusation or a label that doesn't need to be backed up in any way.
There's so many reasons behind why I do this. To tell my innocence to the world. To let the government know that I'm not your punching bag no more. I'm not going to be that person accused and sit there and be quiet. I'm not afraid of you anymore. To also protect my family. To help the loved ones who are behind bars. I'm telling my story for everybody to hear. Take it, do something. Try to figure out a way you can educate yourself. Try to figure out a way to change how the media works.
When you see a case like Adama's, that, you know, because of her age and her clear innocence came to the attention of so many people, you wonder about the hundreds or thousands of others whose cases didn't get that same amount of scrutiny, who maybe didn't have the same kind of legal representation, who maybe fell through the cracks and stayed in detention for years, or maybe were deported without a fair legal process. If you could make a film about each person who was swept up into detention in the United States after 9/11, I think that you would find as many fascinating stories as there are people.